after the Anglo-American drone attacks on a British subject. We in Britain, our RT bureau in London, right next to MI5. MI5 in the press were being told, prepare for an attack on London.
Occurring in future. This really attaches onto wider debates about balancing liberty and freedom of speech, liberty and public security, which is a very tough balancing act that they found themselves in. In terms of foreign policy, of course, this begs the question, has this been linked to French foreign policy in Iraq and Syria? Certainly Roger Marion, he's the former French counterterrorism chief, he has already said this appears to be linked with French airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, and ISIL have previously threatened many Western countries and indeed even Russia with retaliatory attacks for their actions in the country. So really the leaders will be, in the short term, getting together, looking at the security situation, consulting with their security advisors, etc.
Just hold that thought for a moment, because some experts, we spoke to believe that wars in the Middle East are the cause of terror attacks. We are now witnessing a lot of different opinion here, but let's listen to what was said here.
We know very little about who's done this and what their motives are, so we have to go with what we do know, and that is that U.S. and NATO, including French and British, wars in the region have destabilized and ripped apart whole countries, national cultures, left millions of lives in shambles. And during this time, the U.S. has also armed and trained fanatical and extremist groups, and done this in coordination with Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Jordan, to use as a weapon against Syria. But the very creation, the funding, the backhanded support of these groups, that is a danger in itself. And these wars, these terrible wars, come home. And the ruin that is existing in the region, throughout the Middle East, and the attacks on whole cultures and people, that creates fanatical forces. It really does. People who have absolutely despaired and yet have received equipment and funding and money. So I think that's a real danger in this. We also have to know that right-wing and reactionary forces in France and here in the U.S. will use this as a reason to attack immigrants who are themselves fleeing from the wars that have been created by the West as an effort to reconquer, recolonize this region and totally destabilize it.